So if you want to follow along, I recommend that you actually follow along. You can log in if this is your first time logging into Canvas, because you're still using eCampus this semester, and we all know that eCampus is going to go away after starting the fall semester. To log into Canvas, you can go to lms.tamu.edu, and in the top right-hand corner, you should see a login button where you can log in with your net ID and password. If you have been teaching in Canvas, you should have access to Canvas, or if you are teaching, this is your first time teaching in summer, this summer using Canvas. The Office for Academic Innovation recently also published your summer courses. So you should have access to Canvas if you're the instructor of records teaching those courses this summer. If you're teaching the fall for first time in Canvas, you might still not have access to Canvas as of yet, not until they release the course shell for fall. But you can always email aihelp@tamu.edu and request for a practice course in Canvas, so for you to have access to Canvas. So in the meanwhile, while you log into Canvas, I'm going to talk about our website, lms.tamu.edu. I'm going to go to my Canvas, to the website, which is this is lms.tamu.edu. This is where you can learn more about everything about Canvas, how to migrate your Canvas course, where you can get support, and also regarding LTIs or third-party tools that you might want to use in Canvas. So we have the Make the Move section, which is we're currently revamping this as of right now with more step-by-step guide with more information that can help you to move your eCampus courses to Canvas. We have a Zoom section and also the Train Up section where you can find our Fridays live training schedule, and also our YouTube channel where we will post all of our trainings, and including the special topics one. And in the training and support section, that's where you can find the course migration consultation appointment, sign up appointment. You can sign up for appointment with us, and our office hours, and the Keep Teaching. Lastly, the Keep Teaching section, where you can learn more about proctoring tools, which is kind of part about on this assessing in Canvas. Of course, we're not going to talk specifically in this training how to use the proctoring tools. I'm just going to show you in this training. I'm just going to show you the basic on how you can create your assessment in Canvas. So that is it about lms.tamu.edu, the website. Let me go to my Canvas course, and by the end of this training, you should be able to identify best practices for building assessment in Canvas and create assignment and quizzes in Canvas as some of the examples that I'm going to use in this training. So again, I mentioned this earlier, that this training will be about creating assessment. Will cover about assessment creation in Canvas. It can be a discussion, can be quizzes or tests, or assignment. Again, all these videos will be available shortly on our YouTube channel. Assessment in Canvas, assessment is basically the same in whether you're creating an eCampus or Canvas, right? So it's just a naming that's a bit different, and how you create it in Canvas, that's going to be a bit different than what you experience in eCampus, but it's still going to help your students assess their knowledge about the content that you're teaching in semester. And we're going to show you some of different examples on how to create different kind of assessment in this training. So from this point on, I'm going to switch between my PowerPoint and my Canvas course. So if I'm going too fast, just let me know in the chat, or also if you have any questions, please just let me know in the chat, and I'm monitoring the chat frequently. So assignments are a form of formative assessment. There are, as you know, there are two types of assessment: formative and summative assessment. And assignment is part of the formative types of assessment, where you usually ask your students to upload the file or use a third-party tools, such as Perceptive, or to peer review, or upload the media, or record and upload some kind of media. And you can also, in using the assignments, you can also assign the assignments to everyone in your course or just to specific people in your course. So let me go to my Canvas course. Again, after you log in to Canvas, if you have access to Canvas, if you have a practice course or dev course or development course, I recommend that you follow along. If not, then you can watch this training while you request your practice course. If you need a practice course or dev course, you can email aihelp@tamu.edu and request for a practice course. For this training, I'm going to use my practice course, which is my sandbox. Again, if you're in the step 1, you should be familiar with the course navigation and our new homepage for the summer. And I'm going to go to modules. And for this training, I'm going to focus on the week 1 topic, this section, which is in particular this section, week 1 individual assignment. So again, we have, for the summer, we have a template that you can use. If you're teaching in summer, you should be able to see our new template embedded in your course, live course, and feel free to modify the template as you like. Of course, we have created some kind of best practices or placeholder where you can just change the wording while maintaining the icons. But of course, in this training, I'm also going to show you how, if you don't want to use the template that we give you, I'm also going to show you how you can create the assignment, your assignment from scratch. But first, I'm going to show you how you can edit the assignment. But first, you go to your modules, or you can go to assignments. I'm going to go to my modules, and I'm going to click week 1 individual assignments. This is what I'm going to change. And I'm going to click edit, which is basically your rich. It's going to take you to your rich content editor. This is a very handy tool in Canvas that you're going to use pretty much every day to build your courses, whether it's your pages, your assignments, your quizzes. You will have to use the rich content editor. In the rich content editor, that's where you can change the text. You can link to a course link or external link. If you need it, you can upload some kind of an image or a course image. You can also upload the media, some kind of instruction maybe, if you want your students to listen to the assignment instruction. You can also use an LTI, which is a third-party tool in Canvas. And you can click this plug icon, which is called apps, and you can find all of our third-party apps that are currently available for students to use, or for you to use right now. For example, if you want your students to watch a video before to answer some of the questions, you might want to put the videos in your Google Drive first and link your Google Drive video to your Canvas course in the rich content editor. So you might want to do that. So the next thing is change your points to any points you like. We're going to talk about assignment groups later, but the default is going to be assignments. You can display your this assignment 1 as points or as incomplete or GPA scale or not graded or as percentage. And the most common one is going to be points. You can make this to not count or count towards the final grade. And this is the most important part, which is the submission type. When you click this drop-down menu, you'll have 4 different options. I know that we're we're in pandemic where the majority of your courses are not right now are offered both face-to-face and online. So if you would like your students to submit things, their homework, their assignments, using the LMS, just click online and you will have these 4 options, which is text entry, where they can type their answers in Canvas. They can send a website. Of course, with text entry, they also can link a website URL if they want. They can also upload media recordings. So if they don't have a third-party software that can allow them to record media, their own video, Canvas will have a built-in media recording that they can use as long as they have webcam and a microphone. Will allow them to record some kind of like a introduction video if you want. And the most common type is file uploads. This is the most common types that I've seen the majority of the faculty I work with use, which is file uploads. And you can restrict file upload types, which is if you're using a Windows PC and you don't have Pages. Pages is the equivalent types of Word, Microsoft Word in Mac. So you can type in .doc, just type in .docx, oops, or .pdf or something like that. That will tell Canvas to restrict to only allow these types of document to be uploaded to the assignment. So I'm not going to use that. You can also change the allowed attempts, unlimited. By default, it's going to be unlimited. So if they make mistakes, they can re-upload, and Canvas will not override their first submission. It will, in the gradebook, which we're going to cover next, we can talk more about what you will see if the students upload their assignments multiple times. But if you would like to know right now, if you're curious, the Canvas will keep all the student submissions. It will not override the first student's submission. Or you can put them as limited 1 or 2 attempts. I'm gonna make them unlimited just because it's formative assessment. It's not summative like tests or quizzes where I usually only allow them to take it only once. Plagiarism review, which is if you use Turnitin, this is how you're going to use Turnitin. Just check the Turnitin plagiarism review and check all of the settings that you want. Show student reports is also ties in with the Turnitin. You can make the group as a group assignments. And we have a separate video training on how you can use a group set, how you can create a group assignment, which is not going to be this one. But if you want to learn more how to use group assignment and peer reviews, that video is now available on our YouTube channel. Anonymous grading. So I've seen that some people use this. This is a brand new feature that we recently turned on this semester, recently, not just a few weeks ago, actually. So you can make your grading to be anonymous and assign to. This is also one of our best practices that you should actually change every time you create a brand new assignment. You can assign it to everyone, or you can assign it to just specific students. Best practice is always to put a due date so that once you click save and publish, students will get notifications on their to-do list on their end of, oh, they have a new assignments due on this date. And you can make it available from technically you can create your assignments far in advance before the semester starts, and just change the available from to certain date, and it's only going to open until certain dates. After this until date pass, they can no longer submit. Students will no longer be able to submit their assignments. If you don't do this and you just put in the due date. What they will do, what Canvas will do is it will still allow them to submit it, but in the gradebook, which we're going to talk next in step 3, is Canvas will mark as late or something like that. And of course, one thing is that I can add new assign to, and I can just assign it to, for example, Isabel. And you see on the top side, on the top part now, it now changed to everyone else. And you can put Isabel, you can give Isabel a different due date if you want. And once you're ready, just click save. I'm not going to do that since I have to use this again for our next training. So that's how you can modify week 1 assignments. After this, what you can do actually, it's also to, if you want to use the same format, you can also duplicate this week 1. It's going to create a copy and as an unpublished, and you can change this. You can create a second module, and you can change this to week 2 if you want. So that way will keep all of the formatting similar. Again, you can only use duplicate for assignments. You cannot use duplicate for quizzes. So that is how you can modify our week 1 assignments from the template. If you want to create something from scratch, feel free to do so. All you need to do is just create the placeholder week 1 or week 2 or whatever. And I'm just going to use week 1 to create my week 1 assignment from scratch. And I'm just going to click this plus button. And the default is always going to be on assignments. And create assignments. I'm going to name it week 1. And introduction assignment. I'm going to name it that. You can indent it or don't indent it. I'm going to indent level 1 just to make it similar with the rest. It's always going to show on the bottom. Keep in mind that. But what you can do is that, see this 8 buttons, 8 dots, you can drag this up and down. I'm going to place it there, just for right now. And I'm going to click this, and basically you get a fresh empty shell of your week 1 introduction assignment. I know I made a typo there. Let me fix it. And still, you have to use the rich content editor again and do basically the same format that I just showed you, and just click save or save and publish. Save if when you're not ready to publish it, and save and publish when you're ready for your students to see your assignments. I'm just going to click save for now. And you can also publish it from there. Or if you go back to modules, you can always publish it from there. So that is how you can modify and create your assignments from using the template or from scratch, depending on your preference. So let me go back to my PowerPoint slide. And we did cover how you can create an assignment. And we did also cover how you can use the rich content editor. Assignment best practices, again, at the due date, change the submission type to on paper or no submission for work done face-to-face. I know that we're going back to the new normal, so you might not feel comfortable with receiving an online student assignment submission. So you can put one of the options in the submission type, if you remember, is no submission, or on paper, which is they deliver the assignments, they send the assignments while in class. And create an attached rubric in assignments. I didn't talk about this, but basically we have different assignments that talks about how to use rubrics. But basically, if you're using assignment, there's a rubric right there. that you can use and create. And this rubric will be available on when you're grading too. So, but that will be a separate training. So, oops, I'm moving too fast. So we have an activity. If you want to follow along, this is the time where I'm going to allow you to practice grading assignment if you want. We have a timer right here, which is 5 minutes. So if you're done or if you're just watching right now, just let me know in the chat you're just watching and we can move this training faster. If you have any questions too, just put it in the chat and we can use this for a Q&A for the assignment piece. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started in a little bit. For those of you who are actually practicing, just let me know in the chat if you have any questions. To be able to move forward, I do need more than 50% to actually who let me know they're just watching to be able to move forward. So we're gonna go and start there. Well, thank you for letting me know. That is 50%. All right, go. Okay, let's move on. Okay, yeah, thank you for letting me know. Let's move on and do the next step, which is the most common one, which is what the majority of the faculty have in their courses, which is quizzes or tests in Canvas. Everything will be called quiz or quizzes, unlike in eCampus where you have tests or exams. So it's basically, you can use this for formative assessment or summative assessment. You can rename quizzes to be like a test or exam. But on the course navigation menu on the left-hand side, it's still going to be called quizzes. And again, we recommend that you put all of your quizzes or exams or whatever you want to call it in your module. So don't enable quizzes on the left-hand side navigation. So your modules is going to be a one-stop shop for everything content related, for pages, assignments, quizzes, discussion boards. You can put everything in your modules. So let me go back to my Canvas course again. And I'm going to go to my modules. And again, I'm going to use the template that if you have access to a practice course or your live course for summer or previous course offering, you can use the template, which I'm going to use to modify my quizzes first. And I'm going to show you how you can create your quiz from scratch. Again, these are what the students will see. Before I forget, there's also a student view right there. If you want to look at what the students will see before you publish your quiz or your assignments, you can click the student view and see what they see, get an understanding of what they will see. But pretty much this is what they will see. They can scroll to the information, they can see the question type, the points, time limit, and attempts, if any. And if you're using Respondus Lockdown Browser or any of the third-party proctoring tools that A&M have. So I'm going to click Edit again. As always, you're going to be brought to your rich content editor. So this is where you can modify your quiz information. So this quiz is about Math 101, chapter 1 through 3 or something like that, right? Where they can get help if they need to get help. Maybe your TA can be one of them, or your office hours or something, if you're conducting your test online. The quiz type, you have 4 different options. For this one, I'm particularly just gonna talk about graded quiz because it is the most common quiz types that faculty use. And there's also a practice quiz and survey if you want to do survey. And assignment groups, like again, we only have one assignment group right now, but we have a different talk and different training on how it talks about how you can create an assignment group. And you can shuffle the answers or not shuffle the answers. Unlike in eCampus where you have an option to shuffle the question, and the options as of right now, you only have the option to shuffle the answers. There will be a different way on that I can show you on how you can shuffle the question. And the time limit, which is any time limit that you want to use in your quiz or test, allow multiple times, which is common or not, which is not really common in quiz, but we have it as I have it turned on right now. And you can choose the highest, latest, or average, and you can allow attempts, number of attempts. I'm gonna unclick that and let students see their quiz responses only once after each attempt, or you can pick a specific date, show correct answers at the specific date, maybe after the due date, and you can also hide the correct answers maybe after 10 minutes or maybe after 24 hours or something like that. So that's also an option. Also, I do know that some of you don't like to share the actual correct answers just because you don't want to create brand new quiz every semester. So you can uncheck that. You can show one question at a time by clicking that. And basically, when you click log questions after answering, there is no return back to question 1 or question 2 after they click next question. You don't need to worry about access code or filter IP address. If you want to password code it, your quiz, you can require access code. You can type in 1, 2, 3. It is quite uncommon, but there's that option if you want. You can always assign to, play around with assign to for everyone with a due date. This is the most common way of when I see faculty create a quiz or test, they have the available and until date fill out in Canvas. So only available on the 9th at 10 a.m. And you can change it to 10 a.m. until 9, 12 p.m. or something like that. And put the due date, which is on the 9th at 12 p.m. There you go. And you can assign it to just particular students if you have students with accommodations. For example, if you know this far in advance, you can, for example, if Travis needs a different accommodation, again, I can just put add Travis, and then this will change to everyone else. You can change the due date. You can give Travis a due date and available from a different available from an until date and a different due date too. And click save. I'm not going to do that right now, and just because I need to reuse this for our future training. I'm going to click cancel. But there, after you created your quiz, you can go back to edit again. Technically, you don't need to click save. It's always best to always save. That's every time you update something. But you can always go back to your quiz again and click edit by clicking edit. And now you can go to questions. In this training, I'm going to show you the most standard way of creating quiz. There will be a different training again, how to use question groups and question banks. That is basically if you want to shuffle your question, you need to create a question group. But for this training, I'm going to use create a brand new question. You can type in question 1, and you have all these multiple different options. The most common is multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answers, matching. If you're doing math, there's also numerical answers where you can put in the exact answers with error margin if you're a math faculty. Formula questions where they can type in, you can type in actual formula, and actually students can use LaTeX and in the formula questions if you want them to use LaTeX. Essay questions where they get the rich content editor and they can type in the answers and using the rich content editor. file upload, they can upload the file. But the most common one is multiple choice, where let's just type in what is doc, or actually doc. And you can type in the correct answers as whale in here, doc. And you can add in another answers by clicking add another answers. Add. And you see this green button, green arrow that says correct answers, you can move this and anywhere you want. So since I asked them pick doc, I'm going to put the correct answers is this and doc. And you see all the red or the blue text box right here. It's actually a box. That is where you can put the feedback. For example, you can put the feedback correct, and we will apply to the correct answers feedback. And also in the wrong answer comment, incorrect, try again, or something like that. And then always remember after you create your questions to update questions. Click this. I've seen many faculties, they don't click update question, they just click save and then didn't save. You need to click this every time you create a brand new questions. For example, in question 2, you can just name it question 2. Click add. I'm going to use this as an example again. Just click one more. Sure. And then click update questions. And of course, you can show question details, and it will show you which one is the correct answer, just for if you want to review. Again, this question details is only currently in Canvas. It's only available if you have questions. You can click this. This is clickable if you have less than 25 questions. If you have 26 questions or more, this will be grayed out for right now. That's just a Canvas feature that's not allowing you at this moment to view question details if you have more than 25 questions. And click save. After this, it's always best practice to, before you launch it, before you publish it, click preview. And this will give you an idea of what the students will see and what the question will look like. This is especially important if you put an image, for example, and your question, as part of the question, you can click preview and see whether the image is viewable from the student side. And you can take it, time running, and you can submit it, for example, doc, and just to make sure that you put the right answer and click submit quiz, and it will give you the actual score. If you get 100 or 100 or 10 out of 10, depending on your questions, that means that your quiz is good to go. So let me go back to my modules again. That is how you can modify your quiz. Again, duplicating quiz is not available. So if you click what we call the snowman, there's no duplicate available in here. You can only use it for non-quiz types. To create a quiz from scratch, you can click this button and click quiz, create quiz, and I'm going to call it week 2. And I'm going to indent it and add item. It's always going to show on the bottom. You can always, like I said, drag and drop it and click edit and use the same format as I just showed you earlier. So let me go back. So that is how you can create a quiz or modify a quiz in Canvas. I did show you about quiz details and different types of quiz questions and question types that you can use, best practices. use the quiz tool can be used for more than just one quizzes. You can create assessment such as task, exam, you can rename it. But of course, like I said, on the navigation bar or from the student side, it's still going to say quizzes. Consider creating a question bank to shuffle the questions. Again, this is just a reminder that only multiple choice, true and false, multiple answer quiz types can be regraded. I know that sometimes after your students took your quiz or exams, you see that, oh, for question 2, the majority of students missed question 2, and you would like to regrade or give everyone full grade for question 2. Again, regrading at this point is only available if you use multiple choice, true and false, and multiple answers quiz types. If you use other than those, you have to regrade them manually. Yes, this PowerPoint will be available right after, before this meeting ends, before this training ends. So thank you for that question. And again, preview the quiz before publishing it. We have another activity, which just let me know if you're just watching or actually practicing. I think the majority of you is just watching today. But just let me know again if you're just watching, or if you would like to practice creating a quiz. Let me answer Lori's question. Yeah, if you just need to regrade the multiple choice questions, you can just regrade the multiple choice questions. It will not affect your essay questions. You regrade in Canvas, you regrade per question, not for the whole overall quiz, which we can talk more about that in regrading, and which is in step 3. But if you regraded your multiple choice questions, it will not affect your essay questions. With essay, it's basically it's not automatic grading. It's going to be a manual grading. If you pick essay, you still have to. There's no automatic way for Canvas to grade that. So faculty will need to read all the essays and put the grade. So. All right, seems like everyone is watching. I'm gonna stop this timer and move on. We're at the end of this training. Thank you all for attending. We do have this training again. You can sign up for this training again, step 1 and step 2 and step 3. We're going to do this again in the afternoon. So if you don't, or this video is also going to be available, any of the training will be also available on our YouTube channel. So either way, if you want to register for the step 3, which is in 15 minutes, feel free to do so from the website, or again, you can register for the 3 p.m. step 3 later today.
To learn more, please visit lms.tamu.edu. Thank you.